From the previous episode of Bridging the Gap, we uncovered the hard truths that our SMEs are facing amidst this global pandemic. With the recent announcement of the circuit breaker restrictions being extended in Singapore, SMEs are facing even more uncertainties ahead of them. That is because many of these SMEs who do not fall under the essential services category are to remain closed for an additional 4 weeks. This additional period of closures may be temporary for many, but for some, this may turn out to be permanent. We want to know how our community of investors are reacting to the ongoing situation and also how it has affected the investment decisions in general thus far. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Bridging the Gap. With us on today's episode, Ms. Leong, an investor on SeedIn's platform. Hi, Ms. Leong. Let's start by sharing with our listeners how long you've been on SeedIn's platform and what got you into crowdfunding.
Okay, I have been on SeedIn platform for approximately 2 years, and I first heard about it at Invest Fair back in 2017. And I thought it's an interesting, another asset class that I haven't tried before. So I wanted to give it a shot. So I started to do some research, and I found out about SeedIn as a result of that research. Crowdfunding offers a very critical lifeline to SMEs, essentially because a lot of them are probably not considered bankable to the big financial institutions. I think crowdfunding, especially during this period, is able to provide help to SMEs in a quicker manner because they are less bureaucratic.
I agree, Ms. Leong. I think the entire concept about crowdfunding is to give people like you and I the power to decide and fund immediately what matters to them. In the past, this power was held exclusively. Now, with the whole coronavirus outbreak panning out, how has it affected your investment decisions?
Definitely, I've become more cautious and more aware of all the developments that's being reported around the world. And I've started to revise my portfolio towards safer instruments. But having said that, at the same time, I continue to look for investment opportunities because for me personally, I think it's crucial to stay invested in the markets, especially during these times.
Do you think the current situation has affected your willingness to help our good local SMEs?
I will continue to support viable business, but of course it has to be after stringent risk assessment, that they have a very solid business to start with before this pandemic started, and that this once this is through, that they will be able to resume, maybe not back to where it was before, but start rebuilding towards where it was before. For example, recently there is a deal on SeedIn where the deal was structured such that the repayment comes with the part principal plus interest for the duration of the loan. But because of the pandemic situation, the COVID situation, it was proposed to revise to interest payment only, and where principal is only repaid at the end on the final month. I think this is one way to help SMEs tie through this period. Very much like a person who's having a mortgage, where the banks are willing to let you not service the principal, the repayment part, but to just pay the interest. I think this is a very similar concept, and I think it's a good way to help them.
These are indeed challenging times for our SMEs. What are some words of encouragement you would like to share with our local SME business owners?
I have to say that I truly respect their courage and the fighting spirit in guiding their businesses through this situation. I think compared to the normal salaried employees who is just waiting for a paycheck, they deal with bigger issues. They have their own family, of course. They also have to think of their employees and also customers, and probably to some extent suppliers. They also have to manage their suppliers. And throughout all this, they still have to find ways to get temporary funding to help the business stay afloat. So it's really a lot that they have to deal with.
Before we go, do you have anything else you'd like to say to our fellow Singaporeans?
I think for those who are in a more relatively safe and secure position and who are able to extend help by providing much needed liquidity to deserving businesses. Because this is temporary, this is totally not expected and has never been experienced before. And keeping these SMEs afloat also means keeping the jobs of maybe perhaps someone we know, maybe a relative, a friend, or a neighbour. And when things go back to normal, and hopefully that comes soon, that these businesses can start working towards getting and strengthening their business again.
Thank you so much for your time, Ms. Leong, and for sharing with us your views on this current situation. It is truly heartwarming to see our fellow Singaporeans voicing out and showing their support for our good local SMEs. The truth is, we're all in this together, and as Singaporeans, we should all help one another during tough times like this. So far in this series, we hope that you've been able to bridge the gap between our SMEs and investors, in terms of understanding what each party is going through and how they are viewing this situation altogether. Before we go, and if you haven't already done so, we'd like to invite you to take part in our poll located in our blog. We look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of Bridging the Gap.